In this video, we're going to show you how to replace an AC condenser on your Chevy Silverado. This will be located in front of the radiator. Let's get started. Before beginning this job, bring your car down to the local shop and have them evacuate the AC system. We're going to remove the top trim piece. To do that, we're going to remove the 12 plastic clips. Use a clip tool. Remove all the clips, pull the trim piece up and then back and remove it. Remove the two 10mm bolts for this small brace. There's one more in the back. You don't have to fully remove it, you can just loosen them and slide this back. Do the same thing on the other side. We have an aftermarket intake on this truck. Yours may not look like this. However, in either case, you're going to loosen the clamp going to the intake, and we're going to remove this box. In our case, it's going to be three 10mm bolts. There's one more in the back. And we have one more inside of the box. Remove the housing. Sitting at the viewpoint of the airbox, looking at the front bumper, we're going to remove these two plastic clips. And we can pull that shield down. There's going to be three 10mm bolts on the bottom side of the support. One right here, one right here, and one right here. Go ahead and remove all three. Remove the three bolts. We're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. I'm going to start on the inboard bolt. To remove this inboard bolt, I broke it free using a 1/4 inch flex head ratchet. Remove the bolt. We're going to get the two outside ones now. Using a 13mm socket, we're going to remove the bolt in the middle of that support. Using a 13mm socket, remove the 2 radiator bolts. Tilt the brace towards the rear so it's sitting on its back. We're going to work it up and out behind this bracket. It is a very tight fit. And remove it from the vehicle. Looking down on top of the condenser on the sides, you're going to find these plastic clips. We're going to open these plastic clips up. I'm using a right angle pick to help. We're going to go do that same thing on the other side. To remove those plastic tabs, just pull up on that tab right there. Then we're going to remove the trim piece. We're going to remove the brace. To do this, we're going to remove these 2 10mm bolts, and then there's going to be 3 more on the front. We're going to remove the 3 10mm bolts on the front side of that bracket. Remove the bolts, and remove the bracket. Using a 13mm socket, we're going to remove the nut for the stud for our AC condenser connections. Pull straight out and remove the connections. Be sure you pull the top one first. This top will lock in this bottom line. On the top of the condenser on both sides, we're going to find these connections. We're going to pull back this plastic tab. Under there, we're going to have a almost circle clip. We're going to use a right angle pick. Get under one of the sides and pull up on it. Get under the side, you can see it start to pop up a little bit. Once you get the clip started, try and grab it the best you can. These will go flying very easily, and they are very hard to find. Pull the line out of the condenser. And tilt this back out of the way. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Pop that plastic piece off, slide it down. Pull the clip out. Remove the line. On either side of the condenser, where it attaches to the radiator, there's going to be these plastic push buttons. We're going to push on that and pull the condenser up. And pull it out of that lock tab. Pop the condenser up on both sides. Lift straight up. On the bottom of the condenser, there's going to be a small plastic piece that will clip onto the bottom of the condenser. Push down on that plastic piece and it'll pop right out. And remove your condenser. We're going to remove the plastic pieces on either side of the condenser. Get one side started and work your way down and remove it. Do the same thing on the other side. And install the plastic pieces onto the new condenser. Clip it into place, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Using a 12mm socket, we're going to remove the blocking plate. You'll hear some air escape. That is the vacuum for the condenser. We're going to leave the plugs installed until we have the condenser installed into the vehicle to help keep any contaminants out of the condenser. Install the condenser down into place. Our bottom tab is going to drop into a bracket on the radiator, and so will the top. We're going to aim to get the bottoms in first. Push the condenser down into place, making sure that these tabs clip in over the tabs. You only want to push down on the corners, not on this top part. You'll bend the fins. Clip it down into place. Remove the cap. Install the line into the condenser. Make sure it's fully seated. You'll hear it click into place. Give it a pull back. Make sure it's locked in. Install the plastic cap over the clip. Install the plastic cap over the clip. Do the same thing on the other side. Pull the plug out. Install the line. Give it a pull back. Make sure it's locked in there. Pull the plastic cap up and install it over the clip. We're going to remove the gaskets off the condenser lines. Install the stud. Using a 5mm socket or wrench, snug the stud down, get it nice and tight. Install the top plastic piece. This will clip onto the radiator in the front, and it'll clip into those two plastic tabs on either side for the condenser trim. We're going to install the top cross member piece. We're going to go around and get all the bolts started for our top cross member. Get the one in the front installed. Get these all started by hand, but leave them loose so it has room to move around. We're now on the driver's side looking up at the bottom of that cross member. We're going to get the bolts installed. Get these started by hand, but leave them loose. We're going to get the one installed behind the washer tank. We'll go to the other side and get the bolts started before we go through and snug all of these down. Now on to the passenger side, we're going to do the same thing. One more on the inside of this beam. With all of our bolts started, we can go around and snug them down. Snug the bolts down. Torque the 6 support bar bolts to 18 foot-pounds. If you can't get a torque wrench on it, do the best you can. Do the same thing on the other side. Torque the front bolt to 18 foot-pounds. Install the bolts for the radiator to our upper support. Do this on both sides. Torque the radiator bolts to 18 foot-pounds. Install the tie support to our upper support. Snug the bolts down. Torque the bolts to 80 inch-pounds. Install the O-ring onto the AC line. Make sure it's fully seated on the line. And we're going to install that bottom line into our block. Make sure the line is fully seated. Do the same thing on the other line. Install the O-ring. Install it over the small line, inside of the stud, and fully seat the line. Install the nut onto the stud. Snug the nut down and torque it to 16 foot-pounds. As I was torquing that down, I was holding the block so the tubes would not twist. They're only made of aluminum, so they're very pliable. Install the bracket down into the vehicle. Get the bolt started. Get the two on top near the coolant reservoir. Torque the 10mm bolts to 12 foot-pounds. Torque all of the 10mm bolts to 10 foot-pounds. Install the plastic clips for the headlight shield. Install the air box. We're going to install the intake onto the boot. We're going to get our bolts started for the air box. And there's two on the outside. One more in the very front. Snug down all of the bolts. Get them nice and snug. Snug down the clamp for the intake. Install the air filter. Pull the upper support rod over. Get the bolt started. Snug the bolts down. Torque the support rod bolts to 80 inch-pounds. Install the top trim cover. Push it down into place into the front. Install all of the plastic clips. Once you've completed the job, bring your vehicle to the local shop and have them recharge the AC system.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.